Hi folks, you're with Tassus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about a sci-fi series of movies and how this demonstrates and illustrates the growth of propaganda and how entertainment became propaganda. Entertainment was transformed by the globalists into a propaganda delivery system. But it wasn't always so. Not that propaganda wasn't around, but that it wasn't around and it wasn't inserted into basic entertainment to anywhere near the extent it is today. And how, say, the source material was a novel, as in the inspiration for a movie. The movies back in the day, or even TV series, mini-series, that sort of thing, they stuck pretty closely to the source material, to the novel, and it's only when entertainment became a propaganda delivery system did they begin to depart quite radically from the using only the headline or using the brand name, if you like, of the novel or its popularity in order to use that as a propaganda delivery system. So now this particular novel was turned into a movie in 1959, and it was a sci-fi thing, and the special effects reflected the technology of 1959. But also it was an 80-minute movie, and the novel wasn't huge, but it was, 80 minutes wasn't enough. And so they had to make some cuts and do a few things to try and make it fit into the 80 minutes. And other than the abbreviations, though, and the attempt to simplify the plot, again, so they could fit it into the 80 minutes, it stuck very closely to the source material. In order to sort of appeal to an American audience, they put an American guy to front it, and he had a fake British accent. But anyway, this was the thing. And overall, I thought that it was a decent enough job. The woman was more outspoken and pushy than in the novel, so there was that. The writer of the novel was actually quite a leftist. Was very sympathetic to leftist things, and the backdrop of the movie was a struggle over energy or sources of energy, which was, if you like, a synonym for nuclear energy and the possibility of nuclear war. So that was an indirect swipe at big business and the arms industry and that sort of stuff. But anyway, it was a good read. It was a good novel, and I think anyone that reads it would enjoy it. It was just a good story, well put together. I mean, it's dated as you read the original version, of course, but then a version was done again in 1979, this time with more high-tech special effects, and so the various things were able to be put together that you couldn't in 1959. Again, the source material, this one stuck even more closely to the source material and was done, it was a longer version. It was just over 3 hours, and in fact 3.5 hours. So they had more latitude to stick again more closely to the story and putting in some of the details that and especially the continuity between one event and another, where the movie tended to cut that a bit short, or the 1959 version. You wouldn't say the acting was inspiring; it was a little wooden, I thought, but again, stuck to the source material and faithfully delivered the story and the important, pretty much all actually the important points there. Now, then it was left as it was, and then in 2011 they decided to make a remake. Now, if you look at the funding from the various groups that funded this, you're looking at the equivalent, if you like, of the USA. This is during the Obama administration, where there's a huge upsurge in funding for propaganda, globalist, pro-globalist propaganda purposes. And so vast sums of money was suddenly being disgorged to people that wanted to make movies that were anti-white male, were pro-mass migration, all this sort of stuff. So in this movie, they, which was again, they deviated quite heavily from the source material. Now, radically so. So clearly they were sitting down and said, okay, we have to insert heavy propaganda narratives and messaging into this, and wherever the original story or source material doesn't support it, we'll just do something different. Fuck the source material. Now they were using the headline, the name of the sci-fi, which is based on the name of the novel. And so they had, if you like, the brand name following. It's a very popular novel, sold millions of copies. So that would guarantee them at least an appearance of eyeballs. The technology for special effects obviously is, far superior in 2011 to what it was in 1979. So they can do a better job of special effects, which I don't think they actually did. I think they just went too much on the green screen and hope for the best on that. Nonetheless, it was the radical propaganda that there's no real white bad guy in the movie or in the novel. There are people who are doing what they believe is best, but and their intentions are good, but it doesn't always work out that way. But no, they have to create the archetypical straight white male villain, and he has to be the bad guy, and he has to kind of be this sort of Nazi type thing. So he's got to have blonde hair, he's got to have a long leather, overcoat, and he's just got to be pure. And by the way, just to give you some idea about how evil he is, he doesn't respect women. That's it. I mean, whoa. Fuck me. Can you get more evil than that? He doesn't respect women. And he doesn't like, people who are not white. So, I mean, can you get anyone more Nazi than this? So anyway, they've just invented this character. So they've created the classic evil white guy. Now, as in the source material, there are various, professors and people in the military and all this sort of thing, and scientists that get together. They're all men. There's one medical officer who's a woman, but speaks with a very, very upper class accent. And they're the people that are sort of, organizing this. This is like an Armageddon sort of apocalyptic type, people trying to recover after an apocalypse type thing. And so they're all, white and male, again, except for this one. They've gender and race flipped everybody, every expert, everybody is gender flipped and or race flipped and sexuality flipped in some cases. So they've absolutely hammered the the propaganda into this. Now, I don't know why they just don't make another new movie and just say, look, this is the, say it's not Star Wars, by the way, but if it was Star Wars, saying this is the black gay lesbian Star Wars version, do that. But of course, nobody will watch if they do that. So they have to use the deceit and deception of pretending it's the original story when in fact it's not. It's backfilled with a fuckload of race, gender, hustling and grifting and propaganda and so on, and inserted with very heavy hand. So every genius is a black woman, and every scientist is a black woman, and the only white guys that are considered to be permissible in this orbit of or this range of virtuous people are the gay white guys. Every straight white guy is depicted as either a stupid bumbling moron or an evil fascist Nazi. I'm just one or the other. Whereas there are no bad, black or brown people. They're all good people, virtuous and incredibly clever, incredibly intelligent. And you'd swear that the popular and there's just two types of people in the world, the evil fascist Nazi white people and these virtuous good genius black brown people. So it's quite absurd. The way it's put together, it's like it's been put together by teenage angry gender studies students. It doesn't have the mark of professional, anything at all. The acting is poor, the scripting is diabolically bad, and the creation of good and evil and good and bad and virtuous and non-virtuous, it's done in caricature type absurdity. But this is the thing. Now, if you look at any movie, and I've done this before with various franchises, whether it be the original Star Wars or the current iterations, you can see the propaganda delivery system take over. Now, you see this in all sorts of novels, whether it's John Grisham novels, for example. One novel, there are two men who are chasing down or pursuing some line of inquiry to do with high-level corruption and murder and mayhem and that sort of stuff. And the two men have been got rid of, and it's a woman and a black guy, and so there's this race and gender swapping stuff. But it started off in the United States, but and quite gently at first, where it's sort of, oh well, you don't really care, and then otherwise they stuck closely to the source material. So sometimes the story is quite good because they just don't overdo the propaganda insertion. But you can see it all picked up. I would say that the real kickoff, not that it wasn't happening previously, it was, but the real kickoff was, say, during the presidency of Bill Clinton. That's when you started to notice it, as in it was obviously a real determined push to insert the propaganda. And I'm surprised Hollywood rolled over so quickly on this, but they did. And the entire entertainment, whether it be TV, miniseries, Hollywood movies, anything and everything was given over to propaganda delivery. And these iterations show it becomes in stark relief when you look at the two movies, let's say a 1970 version and a current version. You look at the two movies together, and or one after the other, and you see just how much propaganda is being pushed at us. I was like, wow, I mean, whoa, and how much the propaganda producers are prepared to discard the source material just so they can fit in the propaganda, and which means the movies turn to shit really quickly because they look stupid. It looks like some angry little high school lesbian or something, black lesbian is inserting this propaganda with the requisite amount of reckless hysteria. It doesn't look like it's done as even an attempt at professionally produced entertainment. It looks like it's a propaganda delivery gig. And again, now this didn't mean the propaganda never existed previously. Of course it did. But certainly the idea of what was a propaganda delivery and what wasn't was very different then from now. And again, a 1979 version of this sci-fi, they stuck completely to the source material. There was one shot of a black person, and they were an orderly in a hospital, and they got like 10 seconds, a 10-second time grab in the 3-hour-long movie. So that was it. There was no attempt at gender flipping, race flipping. There was no attempt to aggressively make white people look bad, or make them present them as being evil and racist, fascist, Nazi. There was none of that. That's all come later, and we can see how there was a premeditated attempt to subvert all entertainment and just convert it into propaganda delivery. Very sad. You've been with Tastus today, your pushback channel. Thank you for listening.